After conquering stage 4 cancer, Amy Lee founded Dance4Healing, a telehealth live video platform. Welcome to Techstination, and joining us is Amy Lee. Thanks for being with us, Amy.
Thank you, Fred. It's always enjoy your beautiful voice that I just told you. So it's an honor to be interviewed by you.
Thank you. Well, tell us a little more about your journey. I just touched on the surface there.
Yeah, so I used to work in tech, and I was, at Yahoo as an art director. Then I was in AT&T in interactive R&D as a user experience manager. And so my background is mostly in technology. And then in 2012, after working for large corporations for so long, I kind of feel like there's a desire that I wanted to pursue my passion in the social impact space. And I was invited to apply for Singular University that ended up giving me a full scholarship to go to NASA in the Bay Area for this 10-week intense global entrepreneurship program. My class was 80 people from 36 countries. So, it was a huge diversity, and I was super excited. And then, life is just like a movie. I thought like, yeah, Amy gonna change the world. I went to NASA. Then I was discovered that I actually had cancer that was wrongly diagnosed. But luckily, because the change of their, the area that allowed me to see new doctors, that allowed the cancer diagnosis to come out. Yeah. So yeah, life is crazy, right?
And that obviously was an ordeal. It was as we've said, it was stage 4. It was fairly advanced. But...
Yeah, and I think a huge part is because I was wrongly diagnosed. And then by the time when the correct diagnosis came out, in about 53 days, I went from a normal bone in my skin in Los Angeles, went to Bay Area for a second in my skin to 2-centimeter tumors in my bone. Yeah, and so this is also why I'm writing my book right now, because I think that people need to know, all these things happen to patients and families. And my mom literally said, went up to study in NASA, saved my life. Because imagine if I didn't move, I was wrongly diagnosed. I was actually given wrong medication. And luckily, one of the medication, I decided not to take it because I was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune disease, where it could have similar symptoms that I have eye drooping and double vision. But imagine if you have a tumor that, grow to impact your cranial nerves and your muscle nerve, you could have similar symptoms. But because my wrong diagnosis, I was prescribed medication to tighten my muscle, and that kind of completely destroyed my sleep. And then the second medication is actually a steroid medication that I refused to take it. Thank God to my middle sister who'd been dealing with lupus her whole life, and I knew how bad taking that steroid medication could create this long-term impact and how to get off. And I refused to take that. So that saved my life. Because imagine if I'm already lack of sleep because of this wrong medication, then the second medication completely suppress my immune system. You could probably imagine how bad that could be, right? Yeah.
Sure. And so this battle went on, I'm sure, for quite some time, and you've come out of it victorious. So.
Yeah, I know. If I don't tell you that I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor, you probably will not know. Like most people thought, like, I'm just the smiley, bubbly Amy that like to, laugh and tell jokes and stuff. Yeah, it is kind of hard when I was going through it, and this also inspired me to create a Dance4Healing, because I literally went back to my childhood love of music, dance, and art. During cancer, I picked up my art brushes after 12 years. I listen to music on the day I can get out of the bed. And then the only movement exercise program I'm allowed to attend, because my immune system is so compromised, as at the cancer center, and it just happened to be a music and movement program. But then if on that day I was too sick or don't have a volunteer driver, I will have no activity for several weeks. And that kind of inspired me to like, wow, who in my age that has stage 4 cancer and had a technology background, and then had a deep appreciation for creative arts, and then also being educated by all the clinical study behind creative arts. And I just feel like if I don't do something, it may not ever happen. I'm just like someone who kind of putting into that piece of puzzle where I experienced this. And for me, it was a experience of that, the isolation, loneliness, for a lot of elderly people dealing with, like when they get older, chronic patients, when they're stuck at home, and me going from like in 1 year running a marathon to the next year, pretty much stuck at home, go through a whole year of cancer treatment. You can imagine that whole life shifting was very, very dramatic, right? Yeah.
So, Dance4Healing, describe for the audience what that is.
Yeah, so Dance4Healing is an AI-powered live video platform that helps chronic patients and elderly to find compatible buddy to build fun, healthy habits. We pre-recorded and live video classes. And I joke around like, imagine YouTube meets Zoom meets eHarmony for health buddies. That's kind of what we do. Yeah.
And how did you get the word out? People have good ideas and create things, try to create things all the time. But to get it out there and to get it noticed and to get people using it, how did you accomplish that?
Yeah, so what's interesting is I first started with like went to hackathon and just like build prototypes, because my extensive background in technology is product development, right? And I also, my undergrad is graphic design. So, it was one of the top design schools. So it was really good for me to mark up some interface that looks beautiful and get all the programmers excited. And then, we end up keep winning a lot of hackathons. So that allowed me to kind of build product. And then on top of that, I just had a huge amount of passion that I myself was lucky to survive and recover. And I just went to talk to a dance teacher who actually did a fundraiser for me when I was diagnosed with cancer. And imagine at that time I was super sick. I didn't even know if I can make it to the fundraiser. And then, I walk into the room with a whole room of people waiting for me and my mom to walk into the room. And then they all like so excited. And like, like when we walked in, when I was barely able to move. And then like, when they were asked me, like, do I have anything to say? I literally was just no words coming out from my mouth. And this is imagine like I have won a public speaking contest since I was 12. And I speak on a lot of stage performers. At that particular moment, I have no words. Literally, I was in tears. I was so moved by the dedication to help me recover. And they were so excited and able to see me like, there with my mom. And, I didn't expect this like a year later, like I end up went back to the same teacher and I was like, hey, I have this idea because I personally benefit from this. And I wanted to like build a dance program for cancer patient. And we have started testing this technology platform. What do you think? And she got super excited. So she started talking to her friends, and what's interesting is in the dance community, if you start with a really, really good instructor, whatever the caliber of the, that the people they bring in is the same, because it's almost like the verification of their level of expertise. So since I started with a really good instructor, the other instructor that she introduced me to, she brought in, it turns out to be like all like the top instructor in the Bay Area. And so I somehow just got everybody excited. I think throughout the whole program, I probably have 40 volunteers that I launched the program without any funding. And then we invited the Stanford program officer, to one of our launch party, and she got so excited. So she ended up invited Dance4Healing to join the Stanford's patient supported care program. And so like literally just took off because I have so much passion and I get people excited and everybody wanted to help me. And so, yeah, so that's how I get started.
And that continues to this day. We'll talk about, what exactly Dance4Healing is doing now, but you just became part of an NIA program. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is super exciting. I actually just have our first kickoff meeting with our coach. That was designated do their consulting agency that work with NIH. And it's going to be a 10-week program. And then they will help us facilitate the whole process of writing this NIH grant that we previously have submitted a one-page summary to tell them what we're trying to build. The program is an intergenerational program. So we were part of the Stanford Startup Garage, where we were required to conduct 100 interviews in the Bay Area. And then so it started to become really clear when we conducted these interviews. The most popular activity in the Elder Center was music, dance, or art. And then the second one is an intergenerational program. So they'll have like kindergartner coming to play with the elderly or high schooler coming to work with them. And that really sits in my head all the time. And I always had this desire, like, how do I bring the two generations together to create this, bonding experiences, and to address the challenges of technology adoption for the elderly, and then also allow the elderly to feel they can continue contribute, like even though they age, right? Like, I was just talking to the program officer that how I overheard my mom was talking to her social worker saying like, yeah, when you get old, you kind of feel like a little bit like low, you're not losing value, you're not able to contribute to people, and so like, that's like a lot of elderly kind of feel, right? And so in our intergenerational program, in addition to how we previously matched the compatible buddy, we also asking questions specific, like, what do you want to teach? What do you want to learn? And like when I was talking to Joy, the NIA officer, who I connected, do Mary and things to you and Mary in your academy, that she was super excited. She was like, oh yeah, we see so many proposals and sometimes you just like scratching your head, like, why do they keep saying the same thing, right? And she thought like our proposal is very unique. She hasn't really seen that many proposal that was, specific on intergeneration. And she was super excited when I mentioned that, we adding this additional component to match the elderly and the young. And then from her own experience, she used to work in like, elder centers, the caregiving facilities, where she really was there with these elders. And so she knows a lot about, this sort of self judgment, like when we get old, you kind of lose the value. And that's a hard thing, like you can imagine, like for someone who like maybe a president of a company, all of a sudden they get, oh, no one's reporting to them, they can't teach anybody. And the older they get, they started to feel kind of like, like less value, right? And so we also wanted to contribute that to the elders, in addition to technology adoptions. The other side of it, though, I was in the behavioral health summit the week before, and it was very shocking. During this pandemic, 3 out of 4 have reported 8 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of stress level. And then the other data was sad. 1 out of 4 18 to 24-year-old have tried to self-harm, like suicidal attempts in the last year. And so that's just even bring out more urgency to like, how do you, bring this two generations together so, the old can get the support from the young for technology adoption, and for this, self value, again, present to them for the young, allow them to contribute to someone. It's also something allow them to like, reduce their anxiety and depression, and able to giving is also a very loving gift, right? Yeah, so we're kind of like excited about how we can bring these two generations together.
So there are obviously a lot of benefits from physical activity by itself, just the act of dancing, I suppose. But the social aspects of it are probably equally or maybe even more important here.
Yep.
And you're crossing generations. Initially, I think you were probably focused on helping other people who had gone through or going through what you went through with cancer. But the scope has broadened considerably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so you probably see this data right here. Dancing reduced the risk of dementia by 76%. And a lot of our decision to go out of just cancer is because of these, really striking medical research data. So in addition to dementia for this NIA, we actually currently also writing a grant for NSF, and that is focused on cardiovascular health for diabetes and hypertension patients. And that is also because of there's a separate study from UK, 48,000 patients. The study was published by University of Sydney, shows that compared to other exercise, dance reduced cardiovascular death by 46%. And so that's also why we kind of, go from just cancer, start expand to other chronic disease, especially the one that have really high data already verified by prior studies that could really help patients.
So where do you go from here, Amy, with this? Where does Dance4Healing go?
Yeah, so with Dance4Healing, what I like to see is I want to create a social movement that, across the globe where, we can bring, culture, art, the rich from all these different, continents, like, in Middle East and, Latin America, in Africa, all these different rich creative arts culture into the US, hosted on our online platform, and then spread around the world. And then what I see, and not only just for health benefits, both mental and physical, it's also, it's a global peace project in some sense, right? Because I feel like there's a deep level of appreciation for who someone is when you get to know a little bit about their art and culture. And we actually currently part of the Founder Institute, where we got really present to the UN's, initiatives, and we have to go in and identify which part of it our company actually addressing, and so that really, bring present to like, we're actually creating an ecosystem to bring this global culture and art and then spread around the world and to empower people, able to, feel, fun and connected with their loved ones, and being matched to a compatible buddy, and to like just build healthy habits in a more fun, easy way. Yeah.
And can people who do know each other, who may be separated by distance, can they just find themselves on the platform as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So during COVID, I decided to open our platform for the first time, to the public, and we have like 372 people signed up. And then that was just like an initial effort to support, like people during this pandemic. And then, from that, we actually wanted to expand to like empower the young to support the old. The biggest stress population currently is those who deal with aging parents. The sandwich generation have aging parents, have younger kids. And during this pandemic, they're the one who work from home, got to figure out how to care for their parents remotely, have kids potentially at home. They need to figure out how to homeschooling them. And they're dealing a lot with stress. And these group of people are, contribute to our economy. If they're down, our economy is going to be down, right? And so we definitely feel that this platform, in a way, is not only allow them to support their parents remotely, whether it's themselves or get an old uncle to dance with, their mom, their dad, or like, mom connected to old high school friends, it doesn't matter, so like we actually offering like, you buy one, get one 50% off. If the second person that you buy in is, an elderly or a patient, the second subscription will be 50% off. Yeah. And also encourage like their kids to dance with their grandparents. Like my niece just came back and I just like seeing how she and my mom were like sit in the patio and talk for like hours, it was just very encouraging, like to see that the beauty of intergenerational connection.
Terrific. So tell us about the subscriptions, how this works, if people want to give this a try.
Yeah, so currently you can actually go to dance4healing.com, and
it's the numeral 4, we should point out.
Yeah, numeral 4, yes. So dance4healing.com, And then you can go there to sign up, get email to how to sign up for our platform. And now because we're coming out of COVID, we're going to migrate to a different platform. So the free offering is still available. So grab it where you can before we do the migration. After we do the migration, we will be offering, like, say, if you wanted to find out your personality type to dance, we have like 3 different levels, and we kind of joke around like easy breezy, mellow yellow, dance machine, and we're like, discover your dance personality type. So that would be like a free offering for anybody who wanted to just do a try, do our different energy levels. And then, for the future version, there will be a free, to try, whether it's maybe 15 days, and sometimes we might do promotion of 30, 60 days, depends on whether it's a holiday or something like, that we wanted to promote. But for now, you can go to my website before our migration to still sign up for free, as for now, yes.
Terrific. Do you know what the subscriptions will eventually cost?
Yeah, so we are thinking about $29 per month. That will give you a monthly subscription to our entire library. You can do it anytime, anywhere with friends and family. And you brought, a mom or dad or an elderly, or even want to contribute just supporting a chronic patient or an elderly, the second subscription will be $15. So you will get 2 subscriptions for $45. And then if you do annual, that will be even lower. So if you do like the annual, it will end up become like $20 or something. So that's kind of what we're offering. And then we will also launch our signature 8-week mindful movement program online as well. So that is also something to watch out.
And you do have instructors on here and such as well, right? You've got groups of people who, and that's another aspect of this, that during the pandemic, a lot of dance instructors, fitness people were not able to work, and you've
so during the pandemic, we actually started the instructor program where we actually train instructor how to present themselves online, how to teach online, how to work out the lighting, all these experiments that I have right here. A lot is actually in the effort helping other instructor that I bought the lighting, bought the mic, trying to kind of help them figure out how to best teach. And then, so now we have a whole group of instructor we already trained. So now we kind of circle back to like, building our elder care clients. Right now we're talking to Brookdale, we're going to do an entertainment forum in another week. And about 2 weeks ago, we did a remote entertainment. And it was kind of funny, like I came in and there was a lot of last minute changes. But, at the end, I wasn't even sure they're able to interact with me because you can barely see them, right? Because in the activity room. And then the activity director was like, oh my God, this is my best turnout. It's like the most people we have in probably the past year. And they were super excited. I was able to do like this fun exercise, like how many of you go to an event and somebody come up to say hi to you and you feel embarrassed because you don't remember their name? And I was like, raise your hand. A lot of people raised their hand, and I teach them this fun exercise. So like, imagine like, my name's Amy. I'm gonna say an animal's name, start with the first letter of my first name and do the animal dance. Everybody had to follow me. So I was like showing like Amy, the alligator, it's like everybody was like following me. And afterwards I was like, who remember my name? And then people like, Amy. And so like, I was like, okay, anybody want to give it a try? And then it was dead silent. So I was like, oh shoot, like, they're gonna be participating now. And then somebody shouted in the back, was like, a rhino. It was really funny. And then so at the end of that exercise, we ended up like, I think we have like 12 people in the room, which normally they only have like 3 or 4 people. So it's literally is their best attendance. And then there's like probably 8 or 9 animals created by the end of that exercise. It was really fun. And then we asked them like, okay, so who remember that person's name? And they'll be like, yeah, the butterfly, the bee, So yeah, so it was like super cool. Just like remotely interaction, taking some of our in-person program that we previously done, and this is a really fun exercise that people love, and we're able to kind of start implementing them online. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all that you've done so far, and there's much more to come, obviously. The web
Yeah.
the website again is Dance for Healing, DANCE, the numeral 4, healing.com.
Yes.
Amy Lee, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you. In fact, I love your commitment to this community, and it's amazing to see you and Mary. Oh my gosh, like the events that you guys put together, the academy you guys put together. It's really, really, I would say honored to be part of this community because I learned so much. And all of a sudden I feel like, oh, wow, this is my tribe. I finally find it because, like there's so many people so passionate about helping the elderly and figuring out together how to support them, how to provide help support, how to provide technology support to this community that is really underaddressed. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And for more on that, for our audience, the website is maryfurlong.com/podcast. That's where the What's Next Living Longer, Better, Smarter podcast resides. We hope you'll check that out. Thank you again for joining us, Amy.
Thank you. Bye.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.